If you own a home or have looked into buying a home, you know that the world of real estate isn't exactly simple. The amount of information out there can be overwhelming. Fortunately, Real Estate Now with Dave and Cyndi is here to help. They break down complicated topics ranging from home renovation to mortgages in straightforward and easy to understand terms. And now, here are Dave and Cyndi, the voices of Real Estate Now.
This week, we're going to be talking about what, Cyndi?
Home improvements that pay. And this is a pertinent topic for us in our home because
It's very personal.
it is. We're in the middle of it right now, and we're having a great time in our bathroom, our blue bathroom that we're trying to update. And we've been through, so far we've finished the flooring. We've got the cabinets ripped apart, ready to paint. We're trying to make a decision on whether or not we should resurface, replace, or remove the tub that's blue.
Just for a little background, our house was built in the late 70s, and the 70s were known for big and beautiful fashion.
Bold colors.
Yes, it was. You know, we had bell-bottom pants and afro hair.
And we're going to call it Tiffany blue bathrooms because Tiffany blue is actually popular now. So I can leave my tile and work around it. And we're going to try to update it, make it look a little more updated and current with what we have. Trying to keep our home as we get it ready to sell in the price range at which it needs to be without putting too much money into it to make it price it out of the market.
Well, we have a lot of people that are getting ready to sell their house, or they want to sell their house, and they say, what do we do in our house and what do we leave alone? You don't want to necessarily, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Good analogy there.
Champagne budget? No, that's wrong. It was a flip-flop. Reverse that one. Beer budget, champagne taste, right?
So, for example, like when our clients are getting ready to list their homes, and they've got a home that's in about $150,000 price range, I would not recommend that they go necessarily and replace all of the kitchen cabinets with granite or countertops with granite and put expensive hardwood flooring in. There's other things that they can do to update the home, make it look a little bit better, and get the value and the return on the investment back out of it. And we're going to be talking about those things today. Our guest today is Cody Fresh, and he is the owner of Platinum Construction. He's got about 15, sounds like a little over 15 years experience in the construction business, maybe a little more than that. He's flipped over 30 homes. And if you don't know what flipping is, that means he's an investor who would purchase homes, go in and repair them, fix them up, and then sell them quickly for a profit. So he's the guy we want to talk to about those home improvement projects that are going to pay.
At least hopefully for a profit.
Yes, hopefully for a profit. He's also, with Platinum Construction, they do custom homes, and we're going to have his contact information on our Facebook page and our blog, and you'll be able to contact him directly if you have any questions that we aren't covering today here on the show. So welcome, Cody. We're excited to have you here with us.
Thank you.
So let's just get right in started with.
Well, actually, Cody, tell us a little bit about your experience in the home building arena.
So we started out flipping homes. Bought a house that I personally lived in. I decided to make some improvements to it while I was living there. Had it reappraised and realized that there was some pretty good value there. So we sold that and just did it again and again and again. We did that from like 2001 to 2005, and then we kind of transitioned into the new home construction. And
nowadays, what you're doing is custom homes. Is that correct?
Yep. We strictly build custom homes.
And from the sound of it, you have homes right now in Rexburg, Idaho Falls area,
we build
and down to Blackfoot, all over the eastern Idaho. Huh?
Clear down into American Falls, Pocatello, all the way up to Island Park, over in Swan Valley.
Oh, great.
But we're based here in Idaho Falls.
Okay. So in your flipping experience, we kind of want to pick your brain today. We're going to be talking about the different parts of the house, break it down a little bit for people because it's confusing. I know these homeowners that we work with all the time are asking us, what should I do? Where should I start? And they're trying to do it on a budget typically so that they can get their house listed and get it for sale. Let's start off with the kitchen, since that's probably the biggest. I know as we take pictures for home, that's the first place we want to put pictures of on the internet for people to see. They want to know what the kitchen looks like. So what advice would you give us?
Well, I totally agree. I mean, the kitchen is the big ticket item on most people's minds when they're looking at homes or trying to gather ideas. But that's also a big budget area too. I mean, I would start with, looking at the cabinetry. I mean, if there's simple ways to resurface the cabinetry, that's probably the easiest. A lot of times, the countertops themselves, too, are easy. And then appliances. You walk into a lot of beautiful kitchens that have completely dated appliances.
Olive green.
Olive green.
Harvest gold.
Harvest gold.
Yeah.
All those beauties.
Lovely.
So when you say resurface a countertop, what
Well,
are you
sorry,
looking at?
resurface cabinets.
Cabinets, okay.
Strip them down, repaint them, refinish them.
Have you ever tried these kits? Because this is what we bought. We haven't done this yet, but I spent about $80 at Home Depot last weekend, and I bought a kit. And what they say you can do is take your cabinet doors off, and it's a 3-step process. It's the cleaning of the cabinet, then painting the cabinet, and then there's a staining that goes over the top of that, and then a finish. And you go right over the top of the paint or the existing stain that's already on the cabinets. And from what it looked like, it turned out pretty nice. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
I haven't. I can speak from trial and error. The first couple times I tried it, we definitely didn't clean the surface good enough. I mean, that's a huge step that I think a lot of people just kind of rush through is cleaning them. And then I would
What
just
is
prime
involved
them.
in the cleaning, Cody?
I mean, you just get buildup over time of
Right, grease and
grease
things in the
and
kitchen, I would
dust
imagine.
and just grime. Even just oils from your fingers. But most of the times when we would refinish, we would actually sand the cabinets down. So we would remove the doors, sand the doors front and back, then sand the faces, and then prime and paint or stain and finish.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be posting pictures on our blog of these cabinets as we do them and the steps in the process so that people can see how it turns out. Because this product actually looks really good. And I can't remember who makes it, but it all comes in a kit, but it has the cleaning, priming base that you put right over the stain, and then the paint. So it's supposed to work really good, or really well, I guess. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Now, are we saving a ton of money by refinishing those cabinets?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can figure, quite a bit into new cabinets. Even the demo of taking them out and then purchasing new cabinets, even pre-built from Home Depot, and then you have to install them yourselves.
Right, that could be thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Does a homeowner need to invest in a professional sander to get the cabinets down there, or?
No, we had just little Black & Decker mouse sanders, and that seemed to do the job.
Okay.
Now,
it's a lot of elbow grease.
Right. So it's going to be some sweat equity put into it.
Definitely.
Do you typically go back and stain them, or painting, or what?
We would always
recommend?
paint them. It's a lot easier process to prime and paint them. And nowadays, right now, the trend is white cabinets. I mean, white cabinets are way in right now. So, but it's a lot simpler process. You don't have to sand it get it completely down to the bare wood. As if you were going to stain them, you would have to get it all the way down to bare wood.
Okay,
But
so
if
it's
you're
going to be a
painting-
little easier with the paint then.
Absolutely.
Now, what if they have routing and etching done inside the cabinets? Is that going to mess you up?
That's where the elbow grease comes in. I mean, you definitely have to get in those, all the nooks and crannies. And that's why I'm saying painting's a lot easier, because you can kind of leave some of those detailed areas and then
Sure.
just prime over them.
Okay. What color of paints would you go with nowadays?
Now, like I said, white is super popular right now. We do a lot of kitchens in like an off-white, like an oatmeal, and then glaze them. And then a lot of people are doing, like in laundry rooms and bathrooms, they're doing kind of some funner colors. So like in kitchens, you can kind of two-tone it. You can do like black on part of it and, kind of set up accent areas.
Okay. Well, cabinets, that's something that's pertinent to both the kitchen and the bathroom, obviously, and the other rooms in the house, because I would imagine the process is the same for doors. And I know, like in a lot of the 70s homes, we have those drawers in the hallway where they, instead of a closet, it's
built-ins,
drawers, right?
yeah.
So, and then hardware is something else that we'll be able to talk about a little bit in our next segment. So let's.
When we come back from the break, we'll talk to them more about what you do in the kitchen, and then maybe get into the bathroom
bathrooms,
area
yeah.
and see what things that the homeowners might be able to do to save themselves some money, to update the look of their house, and get ready to sell and get the most out of their investment.
Right.
So anyhow, right now we're speaking with Cody Fresh, and we'll be back after the break to talk about bathrooms.
When it comes to home loans, ever get the feeling that some banks don't care about your dream home? At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home loan experts are here to help you every step of the way. Along with listening to what you have to say, you'll enjoy a fast approval and closing with no fee and low cost options. And for a limited time, we're offering a free home warranty. So let's talk about home loans. Visit us at iCCU.com. Equal housing lender. All loans OAC. Home loan warranty through Home Warranty of America. Expires September 30th, 2014.
Hey, this is Charles.
Hillary.
And Dave.
And we are
Lady Antebellum. We're proud supporters of the American Red Cross, and we want you to get involved too.
We love the Red Cross.
You can volunteer after disasters.
You can give blood or learn CPR.
There are so many fun and rewarding ways to give back.
Hey, the life you change might be your own.
All you gotta do is call your local Red Cross chapter or visit redcross.org.
It's that simple.
Kevin, now that you're in 8th grade, let's not talk about alcohol. You've got a lot going on. Sports, homework. So I'm sure you haven't noticed where we keep the alcohol in the house. When you hang out with your friends, I know how innocent it is. You play video games, watch educational TV programs. Besides, you're too smart to have friends who drink. And by the time you reach high school, trying to be cool and fit in will be the last thing on your mind. You'll be focused on getting into my alma mater, not experimenting with drinking. So don't worry. I won't ask you if you've tried alcohol or what you're doing when you sleep over a friend's house. I mean, you're too young to even think about stuff like drinking. Right, kiddo?
Real kids are curious about alcohol. 40% try it by the 8th grade. Start a real conversation at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. Talk early, talk often, get others involved. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Addiction to painkillers or heroin is a disease. It's called a disease because critical parts of the brain which influence behavior and judgment are changed in unhealthy ways. Just quitting isn't enough because the changes to the brain still remain and cause cravings and other symptoms that often drive patients to relapse despite their willpower. Yes, addiction is a disease, and the best way to fight a disease is with the help of a doctor. Science has gained greater understanding of addiction in recent years, and now doctors have evidence-based treatments that help patients get back control of their lives and reverse some of the damage caused by addiction. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, remember, it's a life-threatening condition. Go to treatmentmatch.org to find a doctor who can help and to learn about your treatment options. That's treatmentmatch.org. Treatmentmatch.org is a free service of NAABT, a nonprofit organization.
On News Talk 97.7 FM, it's Dave and Cyndi, the voices of Real Estate Now.
For those of you just joining us, we're here with Cody Fresh from Platinum Construction, and he's giving us some advice on home improvement projects that we can do that will help us to get more value out of our home when we're ready to sell them. So, and we were just discussing kitchens and cabinets, and I think what we'd like to move to now is countertops and talk about some of the different things that are available on the market today. Obviously, granite is very popular in homes now. Would you recommend that someone put granite in their home if they're trying to get it sold?
It just depends on their budget. Granite's going to be one of your highest priced items. But right now they have some great high definition laminates that will, they mimic granite, and it'll really make a big difference in the kitchen.
Can the homeowner install those themselves, Cody, or is that something you're going to want to have a professional do?
I would hire a professional. There are some pre-built countertops that you can get at Home Depot, and they also make kits that you can do it yourself.
Sure. Well, we have a client just recently that used a Rust-Oleum product on her countertops. She had some burns on her kitchen cabinets or countertops, and couldn't afford to do the replacement. So she bought this kit, which is, again, I think it's about $70 or $80 for the kit, and it looks, when it's finished, absolutely beautiful. It's like a 3-step paint process that gives it almost a granite look, without spending the money on it. And we were very impressed with the way it turned out. Looked really nice.
Now, if a person's got a home that's in the mid 150, 160 area, would you go to a granite, or would you just go with a different product?
I would probably go with a different product. Like I said, those high definition laminates look great. There's also do-it-yourself kits for like limestone countertops that would be less expensive than granite, but give you like a hard surface look.
Does it cost a lot to have those installed by a professional?
No, it's fairly
pretty
inexpensive,
reasonable.
Yeah. Well, what I guess we keep mentioning the $150,000 price range because that's for Idaho Falls. That's our
median point. Yeah.
And so the average house is going to be selling for about that. But if someone's at a little higher price point, I guess what I'm saying is, at what point would you start recommending that granite be put in?
Well, again, you're competing with new home sales, and you kind of see a lot of newer homes, in that pushing that $200,000 range, that they'll have granite in certain areas, like in a kitchen or maybe a kitchen and a master. But I would say anything $200,000 and above, you're
probably going to need
your buyer's probably going to be looking for granite.
They'll probably be expecting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as what the homeowner themselves can do in the house, or saying in the kitchen, what else would you recommend? We already talked about cabinets. Said probably the countertops we might want to leave to a professional. But what parts can they do themselves that you think would bring value to them?
Kitchen sink faucets are a big deal. You see a lot of those old, separate sprayer and the crystal knobs, on each side.
Yeah.
And you can get really nice, inexpensive fixtures at Home Depot for $150, and that's a quick fix.
Okay.
That will add value. Other things, if you don't want to go through the whole process of stripping the cabinets and redoing those, if they're in good shape and they look good, you can always add different hardware, and then appliances too.
Have you found any different sources for things like hardware? I know when I was pricing those things at Lowe's and Home Depot here in town, locally, they were you can pay $3 or $4 a piece for a handle. So have you found some other sources that maybe we could recommend?
That are less expensive? Not necessarily. Those are going to be your good priced items. A lot of times we'll go to like Restoration Hardware for a little more unique pieces, and they're really not that bad priced either. But there are some inexpensive online stores that you can order those from.
Now, you mentioned the appliances. You think it's worth it for the homeowner to update those appliances when they go to sell the house?
I do, especially, depending on who you're selling to, because a lot of older couples that are in retirement are going to look for things like that.
Well, how old is too old for a stove and a refrigerator?
Well, like you were saying earlier, if it's Harvest Gold or Avocado Green, it could be too old.
All right. It may be pushing it. We might have to think about replacing a few of our things.
And the
Cyndi.
trends, it's true. Well, we were just talking about that today as our refrigerator. Looks like we're going to be needing to get a new one. But the trends are more chrome, black, white. What do you think?
Yeah, stainless steel, I say it was probably the most popular. We're seeing a couple like Whirlpools coming out with like a new white line called Arctic White. And then they have like silver handles. They're getting popular, but I would say stainless steel is
right,
kind of the new standard.
That's the standard. Okay, well, that's good to know. So you need to go buy me a new stainless steel refrigerator today.
There you go. Okay, let's talk about the bathroom for a few minutes. My wife spends all her time in the kitchen. Me, I like my magazines in the bathroom. So what can we do to make that a really nice area? I think, when people come in to buy homes, they're looking at, see what the kitchen looks like, and they want to know what the bathrooms look like. And what do you recommend when you were flipping homes? What were the things you wanted to do in those bathrooms to make them pop?
Flooring, paint, again, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures. You get a lot of just like even nasty mirrors that just have like the clip in and they're glued on. And you can watch for sales all the time at the big box stores that you can get these nice decorative mirrors for $50-$60, and that's a quick, easy way to spruce things up. And then flooring, I think that's a big thing. You see a lot of dated flooring, and that's an easy project that most homeowners can do.
What would you recommend for them to do? Would you have them put in lino? Would you have them replace their existing flooring with Tile, what would you?
I would suggest tile. I mean, it's a easy product to work with, and fairly inexpensive, but it looks nice, and that's kind of one of those things I think, again, people like to see down in a bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah, we just bought a tile saw, and it was an expensive one. I think we spent about $60 on it, so I'm sure we got top of the line stuff. And I still have most of my fingers left. It's been a fun project, but it actually is. It's a fun do-it-yourselfer, and hopefully you don't mess it up too bad.
Well, and Dave learned a good lesson. That when we remove the toilet, make sure the water is turned off.
Yeah, I sprayed myself down. Actually, it was off. I was just disconnecting a hose.
He was completely covered. I did get a picture, though, so we'll put that one on Facebook as well. The tub, really quick, I want to talk about the tub for a second. We have this probably 800-pound cast iron blue tub in this bathroom. We're replacing all the other fixtures, but the expense of that tub being replaced, I'm trying to avoid. Now, what are our options?
Obviously replacing. You can't have them resurfaced, but I mean, that's really your only option.
How much does it cost to have a tub resurfaced?
Oh, it's probably going to be about $300.
Okay. And they can any color basically, and just.
We've just always had them doing white. I would imagine that they could do like an off-white or an almond or probably any color that you wanted, but.
Well, it sounds easier than going and trying to cut the thing and replace it.
Right, I know. Getting it out of the bathroom, I think, from what I understand anyway, it's quite the process that you need to cut it into pieces and remove it.
It can be a process. I mean, depending on how it's fastened to the walls. In older homes, you're going to have lath and plaster over the edges, which will get damaged when you take it out. So, yeah, it's kind of a process.
Okay. All right. Well, in the bathrooms also, the same thing we were talking about in that first segment with the cabinetry applies to the bathrooms as well. One of the things that we're doing to help our bathroom to update it a little bit and avoid some of the sheetrock repairs that need to be done is put in a beadboard wainscot in there. That's very popular right now. Getting that to stay on the wall was a little bit of a challenge. We messed around with bracing, putting glue, nail gun, and still having it bow a little bit where we had to reapply glue and then brace it so that it would stay to the wall. And I think we're kind of figuring that out as we go. But it's been kind of a fun process, and I'm excited about how it's turning out.
Hey, I have one question for you, though, Cody. In our one bathroom, Cindy's okay with the tile we've got in there, but she hates the grout. They'd put in some sort of a white grout, and it wasn't sealed very well, and it's getting dark and dirty. Can a person dig that grout out, or what's the process?
They have special hand tools where you can dig the grout out. They also have like acrylic dye where you can actually grout stain right over top of the grout that's there and change it any color.
Oh, really?
They have several different colors, and
so you can take it from that very, very dirty blackish thing that we've got right now and change it into something okay.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to clean it first, but then you can dye it after that.
Oh, okay, well, that's a great option.
Well, what are we going to be talking about after the break, Cyndi?
Well, we've talked about kitchens and bathrooms already, and I think we're going to ask Cody what his top 5 home improvement areas are going to be, the things that are going to give people back the most return on their investment, and. So when we come back, we'll be visiting with him a little bit more about that.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cyndi Thornton. We've been married 38 years. We're retired, and this is how we live united.
We play golf and we travel, but we also decided we were going to give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
I do the nursing at the clinic.
I work the front office, checking in patients, greeting them, making them feel comfortable.
United Way is how we contribute because we know our time and money are going to the right places, the places that need it most and implement it best.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement too.
We even get a few bless yous. It's incredible.
We're Tom and Cyndi Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic, so we don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org, brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
When it comes to home loans, ever get the feeling that some banks don't care about your dream home? At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home loan experts are here to help you every step of the way. Along with listening to what you have to say, you'll enjoy a fast approval and closing with no fee and low cost options. And for a limited time, we're offering a free home warranty. So let's talk about home loans. Visit us at iccu.com. Equal housing lender. All loans OAC. Home loan warranty through Home Warranty of America. Expires September 30th, 2014.
Hey, it's me, your piggy bank. Remember when you were a little kid? All the dimes and quarters in my back? Yeah, that was good times. Good times. Now lately, I gotta be honest, you've been ignoring me. Money's been slipping through your hands like a greased pig. Get it? Because I'm a... Anyway, I know how it is. Now that you get a real paycheck, it's nice to have stuff. You'll start saving money next year. Well, I hate to tell you, but good saving habits start now. Put just $20 in the bank a month. Make your own coffee at home instead of that latte every morning. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Those changes alone could save you thousands of dollars a year. Come on, I'm your piggy bank. We can be together again, me and you, the special times. Anyway, if you don't want me to cry anymore, feed me. Go to feedthepig.org for more ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
For the latest in real estate, it's Dave and Cyndi with Real Estate Now.
In case you're just joining us, we're here with Cody Fresh today with Platinum Construction, and he's visiting with us today. We're talking about home improvement projects that pay, and we've been talking a little bit about kitchens and bathrooms. I think we're going to travel over to the flooring department now and talk a little bit about some options we have available there.
Yeah, flooring and paint is during the break. Cody was saying those are the ones that really pay.
Right. So why don't you give us some examples of some flooring ideas that maybe that people could use to help update their home?
Well, a lot of times there's a hidden gem that people don't really realize in their house, and it's hardwood floors. I mean, there's tons of houses around Idaho Falls that when you peel the, old nasty shag carpet back, there's beautiful hardwood floors under them that just need sanded and refinished. And that's a very simple thing to do if you have that hidden gem. If not, then obviously that you have your pergo floorings, your hardwood floors, your carpet, things like that.
I can see people ripping up the corners of their carpet right now. Just checking.
It's a good idea.
I did that in one of our houses, and I found it, and I spent the next 2 months pulling up nails and everything else that had been into that hardwood floor. But when it was all said and done, you're right, it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
But the sanding part's a little bit difficult, is it not?
Again, it's a lot of elbow grease, a lot of sweat equity. We would always rent a sander, and any Home Depot or I think Lumber Liquidators even has one that they'll rent you. But yeah, it takes a couple days just to sand them down, and I see a lot of people refinish their floors and they don't get their edges good enough, so then they almost have like a two-tone hardwood floor that
well, that's what
I don't think that they wanted.
I've seen the carpet ripped up in some of these homes that we show, and the hardwood is exposed, but having had carpet tacks down, it's all around the whole edge of the floor. That's the part they need to pay special attention to then, you're saying?
Exactly. They need to really get in there with a hand sander to get those edges, and then spend the time and fill those holes with like a wood filler.
What about the person who's just got ugly carpet, and when they go to rip it up, it's just subfloor?
Just subfloor. Your most inexpensive products are going to be like a laminate floor to give you that hardwood look, and they're just click together floating floors. Anybody can install them. All you have to have is, maybe a jigsaw and a chop saw, and you're good to go. Now,
do you recommend the? I know there's a lot of different products out there in the wood floor arena. What do you recommend?
Thickness. As far as brand, I wouldn't really go for a specific brand, I don't think. But, thickness is a big deal because you get a lot of those more inexpensive, cheap laminates that are like paper thin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, you get a splash of water on those and they're going to delaminate and they're going to buckle and you're going to have problems like that. But now they have half-inch laminate floating floors that, have a 30-year surface
Are those
guarantee.
The ones that they refer to as engineered?
No, an engineer is going to be separate. An engineer is going to have layers almost built like a sheet of plywood with a veneer, like an actual hardwood veneer.
Is that going to be quite a bit more expensive then?
I just recommend like looking for deals. I mean, now that we have a lumber liquidators here in town, it's fantastic. Because I used to drive down to Salt Lake to grab, because I would save enough money that it was worth it to go down there. I mean, you can look on their website or even go into the store and you can find some really good deals.
Where is this magical place called Lumber Liquidators, Cody?
Lumber Liquidator. I feel like I'm plugging them.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna send them a bill
It's
later.
over off of Hit Road, almost by Hit and Lincoln, by that roundabout there.
Okay.
But there's, all the local stores also carry good products. I mean, we buy most of our stuff from Battlesons. Like another shameless
plug. There we go.
But
when do you decide whether you want to go with a carpet or with hardwood?
I think it depends on like the house itself and like how you're going to use it. Like we have small children, so carpet's kind of nice for them to crawl around and walk on. And different areas, we've built some houses where we've put hardwood in the master, and it's kind of been a turnoff for some people. So, like your bedrooms, you're probably going to want to stick with carpet. I personally like hardwood and hard surfaces. So like your high traffic areas, your foyer,
I know as we
kitchen,
go out
dining
and view
room.
homes, and we see a lot of homes during the week in our job, and that seems to be the trend now. The living spaces are more of a hard surface. The bedrooms are still carpet.
Yeah,
though.
I would say that's...
Yeah. Well, except the one thing I never really did understand, and that's the bathroom carpet.
I do not
Whoever-
get that. That is
whoever
the
came up
grossest
with
thing
this
in the
idea.
world to me.
Well, especially if you have like about 7 boys in your family
Yeah.
and they're all learning to
Carpet around
aim.
the toilet just
that's-
did not make sense to
There's
me.
problems there.
Yes,
So.
in the kitchen too. I've seen a few homes that have kitchen
Could be worse if
carpet.
it was shag carpet, though, right?
Yes, it could.
And
it
trust me,
could
we
be
have
worse.
ripped out a ton of carpet around
Uh-huh.
in bathrooms, and it is always disgusting.
I would imagine. Well, okay, so those are some great flooring options. I think fairly inexpensive. I know carpet ranges. There's just a huge price range in pad.
There
and
is. You can
carpet.
get it down, installed with pad, anywhere from, $1.75 a square foot up to, $5 a square foot, just
Sure.
depending on quality.
Something that one of our clients told us about that I had never heard of before, the pad that she bought that she put under her carpet in her basement actually had a plastic layer
Yeah.
that would go as a barrier between the carpet and the pad. Because I know when we've ripped up our carpet before, it is disgusting. That pad, you get it up and they get spilled. They just never.
it's a
come
big
out of that
sponge,
pad.
Yeah, it is. And we always use in our house an 8-pound aqua barrier pad is what that's called.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it does. It just keeps everything to the
Right.
surface of that pad. So when you go to clean your carpets,
You're just cleaning.
you're
the
just
carpet.
cleaning the carpets. You're
So
not
it
like
makes
trying
it-
to suck that from the subfloor
So
up
if
through
a
the
person
pad,
has
through the
pets,
carpet.
then
Pets,
you would
it's a
recommend
huge-
that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we recommend it for everything, but
Yeah.
especially
Right.
if you had pets.
Is it a lot more expensive?
Pad's cheap. So you're talking like 50 cents a square foot more, maybe $1 a square foot more. I mean, it's
But
fairly
worth
inexpensive
it.
and
It's
definitely worth
it for
yeah.
sure. Okay, well that's good to know. Well, let's okay. So have we covered everything on flooring? Paint. Now I know we wanted to talk about that just a little bit because obviously that's a great thing that homeowners can do themselves. That doesn't cost more than the can of paint and a brush.
Yeah, I highly recommend that would be like the first step when you're
Okay.
doing a home improvement is paint. If you have, dated look, paint can spruce up a house.
Sure.
And be very inexpensive. It's just
Right.
labor intensive.
Well, and I usually recommend to our sellers when we go through a house and we're staging with them how they should show their house to take all the family pictures off the walls. We'll leave just maybe a few small pictures. So patch up those holes, paint, and make the walls look good. I think that's a really important thing to do.
What kind of wall preparation do you do before painting?
I mean, you want to make sure all the holes are spackled and filled, make sure there's no drywall cracks, make sure there's no big holes, and then clean. I mean, I've seen so many times where people paint right over like the dustiest, grossest wall, and
Yes.
then that gets into your roller and into your paint, and then you have a lot of problems that way.
Do you always recommend priming over the existing paint? Or
I do, yeah. I mean, we always do 2 coats of primer and then a coat of paint.
Okay.
Or a coat of primer and 2 coats of paint. But they have a lot of nice, like, 2-in-1 systems now.
Explain what a 2-in-1 system is.
2-in-1 is like where the primer's actually in the paint
I
already.
see.
So you're just putting up, the 2 coats of paint, and it has
Saves
a primer
you one
base in
one
it.
step that way then. Huh?
Okay.
Now, do you paint the trim and doors, and do you do the 2 or 3 tone painting, or
We do.
And does that pay back? Do you feel like it makes the house pop enough to be worth the extra time?
It does. It absolutely does. And I recommend that people start with their ceilings, paint their ceilings flat. A lot of times those ceilings are in good enough condition that you don't really have to do that step.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do, I would do the ceilings first, and then we paint our trim and our doors, and then tape that off really nice and paint the walls.
Okay. So trim first and then the walls.
Yep.
Okay. I did not know that.
Well, now you know.
Good information. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, let's move on. We've got just a minute left here before we head out to the break. So we've covered, for kitchens and bathrooms and flooring, probably already covered your top few things that you've recommended.
Yeah.
If you were going to flip a house or get it ready to sell. What let's see if we can list off 5 things in order of preference, if we can do that too.
Okay, so I would do paint, flooring are the top 2 by far. I would look at the kitchen and see if there's easy ways to spruce up the kitchen, because that's going to be your big ticket item. And then bathrooms are going to be your next big, the next biggest ticket item.
Okay.
And then the last one, I would just look for little things. I mean, there's so many little things that people, don't update or don't really look at. They can make a big difference, like lighting. I mean, light fixtures are fairly inexpensive. They're easy to replace. We covered, some of your plumbing fixtures are going to be easy.
Sure.
A lot of hardware. I mean, you go into a lot of houses that have some really dated hardware, and that's an easy thing for a homeowner to replace.
Right,
themselves.
like kitchen door handles and things. We still have in our bathroom circa 1976 handles in our master bath, and they are lovely. But I did also, when I was at Home Depot looking for all of these products that I've talked about, the gentleman that was helping me there was so helpful. He said he was taking all of his handles and hinges off of his cabinet doors, soaking them in a paint remover, cleaning them really well, and then there's these new spray paints that you can get that actually are you can get chrome, you can get a brushed bronze, some beautiful paint colors that you can just go spray all that metal with and make them look new again.
Yeah, they have a lot of like hammered looking, and oil rub bronze is popular right now.
Right.
Again, you just want to make sure that you prep that surface area very well before you apply that, or you'll have problems with that flaking off.
But that's an $8 can of paint.
Yeah.
And so that's a great way to save some money. So, okay. Well, I guess when we come back, we're going to be talking about some outside things we can do as well. So, thanks for joining us, Cody, and we'll be back in a minute.
When it comes to home loans, ever get the feeling that some banks don't care about your dream home? At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home loan experts are here to help you every step of the way. Along with listening to what you have to say, you'll enjoy a fast approval and closing with no fee and low-cost options. And for a limited time, we're offering a free home warranty. So let's talk about home loans. Visit us at iccu.com. Equal housing lender. All loans OAC. Home loan warranty through Home Warranty of America. Expires September 30th, 2014.
When you have breast cancer, these are some of the first words you hear. HER2 oncogene, ductal carcinoma in situ. What do they mean? How can you decide what to do if you can't even say what you have? This is Olivia Newton-John. You can go to breastcancer.org, a special place on the internet where you can learn how to say all those medical words and find out what they mean. Understand your diagnosis and your treatment options. Breastcancer.org, the first place to go the minute you find out you have breast cancer.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We're the largest veteran service organization in the nation. We're committed to making sure all veterans receive the benefits they deserve for the sacrifices they've made in service to America. If you're a veteran in need of help or support, regardless of when you served, please contact us. We have a network of service officers trained specifically to help you get through the process of filing a claim for medical care or benefits. We understand that it can be be daunting to get through the policies and bureaucracy of filing a claim with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we understand the special concerns of women veterans and those suffering from post-traumatic stress. We understand these things because we're all veterans of wartime service. We've been there before, and we're here for you now. You don't have to be a member to get our help, and our services are totally free. Go to legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
Before there were computer games and HD TV, cram courses and teaching to the test, there was this thing called imagination. A tool so powerful, it could transport kids on the most amazing journeys of their lives, from outer space to center field at Yankee Stadium. It is for these journeys that Destination Imagination was created, an extraordinary after-school program in creativity and teamwork for every child. At Destination Imagination, teams are formed and challenges are met with a whole lot of imagination. And while we can't guarantee it'll get your kid into Harvard or onto American Idol, we're pretty sure that Destination Imagination will be the most important journey they make this year. Maybe any year. Parents, teachers, start a Destination Imagination team by calling 888-321-1503 or visit DestinationImagination.org. That's DestinationImagination.org.
It's Real Estate Now with Dave and Cyndi on News Talk 97.7 FM.
We're here today with Cody Fresh with Platinum Construction, and he's giving us some great advice on how we can improve our homes, get them ready to sell, and save money in the process, and the things that make sense to do. We want to get the biggest return on our investment.
And when you say cents, you're talking about dollars and cents, I assume, right? We've talked about all the stuff on the inside, but let's talk about a little bit on the outside, that curb appeal. When somebody drives up to the house or when you take a picture of your property and you put it online, how is it going to look? And one of the things we were talking about is how beat up our front door is.
Oh, I know.
And that when you've got a door that looks like heck, when you go up there, everybody wonders what's the rest of the house going to look like. If that's what they, if they don't care about the front door and the appearance, do they care about anything? So, Cody, what do you do when you were flipping homes? What would you do on the outside to make people say, you know what, somebody cares?
Well, it's like you were saying, it's the first impression, and you want to make a good impression. That's the first thing that they see of the house. So, simple things like doing any paint touch-up that needs to be done outside, cleaning, just cleaning the yard up and sprucing it up, trimming any trees, shrubbery, things like that, replacing bark in your landscaping. You don't have to necessarily go through the expense of planting a new, 10 new trees that'll cost $2,000, but just taking care of what's there, I think, is important.
Well, yeah, we had a tree trimming experience a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah, we did. I was doing my jungle gym thing and hanging
scared
one arm around the tree and the other arm holding a chainsaw and trying to cut things. So
yeah, and how many feet off the ground?
Well, it was at least 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was precariously perched in a tree with a chainsaw in one hand, and. Yeah.
Needless to say, I'm not covered by any life insurance policy.
He still has all his limbs. Okay.
So we talked about not necessarily going and buying a bunch of expensive trees to put in the yard, but would you put any shrubbery? Would you plant anything?
Yeah, I think it's important to plant things. Even as simple as putting a new planter in or having a new planter box outside with fresh flowers. That just shows people that you care about the rest of the home.
We had a listing this earlier today, and they felt like the weather wasn't really in a spot that would hold any flowers. And they asked about putting silk flowers in. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think I would recommend any fake flowers outside.
But it does make a difference. And we had a listing last summer that sold in a week, and every other house in that neighborhood had been sitting there for a long time. This particular house, we had multiple offers on. The difference was the front yard. She had those metal planters that hang from the windows that were installed onto the siding that were full of flowers. She had all around her tree in the front yard planted with flowers. And that was really the only difference, was that curb appeal was so good that people wanted to get in that house. It was a great house, but I think that truly does make a difference. Definitely things we can do in our front yards. And get rid of the trash.
Yeah, I think just cleaning up.
yeah,
I mean, there's, that's the problem is most time people already have all the components that they need. They have a planter area, they have, an established lawn, but it's just so, run down looking that I think it makes people just psychologically wonder what's going on inside the house, what's going on behind the walls. They're just not taking care of it. So
sprinkler systems, because like for our house, we was built in '76. Sprinkler system's pretty old, and we've been able to keep it going, and it's still running. Each year we have to do a little bit more repair on it, though. At what point do you just say, okay, we're just going to give up on the sprinkler system instead of spending another couple $1,000s to put a new sprinkler system in? Or is that something we should do, or is it going to are we going to get the money back out of the house if we do that?
Personally, I don't think that you're going to get the money back out of your house. Kind of, again, depends on the price range of the house. You talk in the 150s, I don't think people are going to be expecting a sprinkler system. It's just kind of an added bonus. It might give you an advantage over the next house. But I think in that $200,000 range, people are going to expect a sprinkler system. It's kind of funny. Personally, one of the nicest houses, like as far as landscaping that I had, didn't have a sprinkler system. It was enjoyable for me to, take care of this yard and move the water around. And for some people, they like that. But I can feel your pain. I have several houses that have old, outdated sprinkler systems, and they're way more of a headache than just moving a hose around.
Yeah.
So at that point, you might want to consider just, rather than spending $300-400 every single year fixing that, you might want to just bite the bullet and have someone come in and rip it out and put in a real sprinkler system.
Now, do you? I'll see people and they'll put in bark, and some people will put in ornamental rock. What kind of products, or do you just like to leave a nice dirt flower bed, or what do you recommend? In the non-grass areas.
Again, it's kind of personal preference. I mean, they have a lot of dyed bark that's really nice and fairly inexpensive. The problem is, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's extremely windy around here.
Well, we bought 17 cubic yards of bark, and our neighbors all sent us thank you letters for it.
Exactly.
Well, I grew up in Portland, and we called it bark dust there, but yeah, it's definitely blows around here.
Well, it is dust in the wind.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot less expensive than, like a gravel type of landscape rock.
Now, I've seen people use some of this rubberized, I don't know if it's old leftover tires or what.
They do. If you want to go green, they have the recycled rubber bark, and it's heavy enough that it stays down. And then it also doesn't lose its color. A lot of the dyed bark after time will kind of lose its color and just not be as attractive, whereas the rubber bark will stay. But again, it's an initial investment. It's a lot more expensive up front.
I guess if a homeowner's looking to sell their place in the next 3 or 4 months, maybe that bark wouldn't be a bad idea, and just pray that the wind will die down until they get the house sold, right?
That's what I would
suggest. Well, before we run out of time, I wanted to talk about decks really quick, too. Outdoor living spaces are very, very popular now. So a peeling and chipped old deck, is it worth it to replace and update that? Or is it something, if you're flipping a house or you're getting it ready to sell, are we going to get our money back out of that?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, outdoor living space is a huge selling factor, I think, and like a nice area to enjoy. And nowadays they have so many good products for resurfacing decks. Thompson has a new product that literally you just scrape it real quick, pressure wash it, and then paint it all in one, and it seals and kind of resurfaces it.
Now, is that something I'm going to be doing this weekend, or what type of weather do you have to wait for to apply something along that line?
Well, in Idaho, you have to wait till July.
Yeah, and we have 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. No, you do want to wait for a little bit better climate to do that, because a lot of the products won't take in. It has to be above a certain degree for 24 hours. That's the other thing that people make a mistake on is. They look at the temperature during the day while they're doing it, and they're like, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden that night it gets below freezing, and the next day it just peels off.
What kind of a texture would that Thompson product be?
I think they have 2 different types. There's a smooth texture, and then there's one that almost gives it like a little bit of a texture, not quite like a rhino-lining, but similar to that. But it actually builds up thick and gives it protection.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of things I think people can do. I want to make sure I give everybody our Facebook page. It's Real Estate Now on Facebook with Dave and Cyndi. So if you look us up and like us on Facebook, we'll have a link to our blog on there, as well as some pictures and some information about Cody and some of our other guests that we'll be having here on our show. So send us your questions. We'd love to hear from our listeners and find out some of the topics that you might think that are pertinent for us to talk about here in Idaho, and anything to do with real estate. And
well, Cody, before we head out, just recap one more time. For people looking to sell their house, give us a few things you just tell them to do.
Again, curb appeal, I would clean up the front yard, just get that looking really nice. And then bread and butter things are flooring and paint. They're the easiest things to do, the most inexpensive, and make the biggest impact.
Well, I hope that'll make a difference for you when you're looking to sell your house. I know it's made a difference for Cyndi and I.
Yeah.
I've got a whole new list of things that I'm going to be doing over the weekend.
You're going to be busy this weekend.
It's conference weekend. We can just do that and just have fun.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a great time. We're going to get that bathroom finished, and we'll get some pictures up on Facebook for you to see our progress as we go along. Hope you'll join us next week. Also, we're going to continue with our guests, our real estate guests that'll be coming on. And next year, we're going to be talking about foreclosures.
Maybe next week we ought to do it.
What's that?
As opposed to next year.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were doing great right up until that moment here.
All right. You're saying next year we're going to be talking about.
Did I say next year?
Yeah, you did, but it's close enough.
Okay. Sorry.
All right. Should we get back in it? Or are you on your flow? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Next week we're going to be talking with our guest about foreclosures, HUD homes, bank-owned homes, short sales, and the differences between those things. So tell all your friends about us. We'd love to have you guys like us on Facebook. Again, it's Real Estate Now with Dave and Cyndi on Facebook, and we'll have a lot more information there for you.
And once again, we'd like to thank Cody Fresh from Platinum Construction for spending some time with us this week. We hope you'll join us again another week in the future and give us a few more tips. But thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next week.
The content and bad jokes of this show are the sole opinion of Dave and Cyndi with Keller Williams Realty East Idaho.